Good day, I'm Junior Researcher Adam Southgate, and today we'll be doing our second Hunters test. I'd appreciate that all hunters please subscribe as to not miss any future lectures, and also, if you enjoy the lecture and find it informative, please like the video and click the bell to ensure you do not miss any future announcements. I would also be very happy to hear your thoughts, views and stories of your own interactions with the monsters of the spheres in the comment area of this video. Also, I'm always ready to answer any questions you may have, and please share these lectures with any hunters you feel would benefit from them. So, to begin, as always, we'll start with our general announcements. Firstly, the situation at Snowdonia National Park has become more serious. Hunter 23 Tovarm, who was on contract as temporary security at the site, recounts how the containment cell constructed around the perpetual tear suddenly and without warning exploded. This sudden and violent event destroyed much of the containment base built around the site and immediately killed roughly half the staff. To make things worse, apart from the large amount of shrapnel from the steel and concrete, hundreds of tons of the odd growths also spilt forth. Many who survived the initial blast were buried alive under the growths. However, efforts to attempt a rescue were thwarted when Homo floresiensis began charging in waves through the breach. Thankfully, Hunter 23 Tovarm was able to rally the survivors and establish a secondary line of defense. The diminutive and infected people seemed intent on breaking this line, throwing themselves at a wall of gunfire. The team held out until more security staff could arrive with fresh ammunition, and after 3 hours of brutal fighting, the waves began to subside. The Homo floresiensis, at least for the time being, have stopped their assaults. However, 23 Tovarm reports concerns that the beings are simply building up their numbers for another push. The issue is that while the beings are small in comparison to ourselves, they move as one super being, with each fallen individual not registering with the others as they simply climb over the bodies of the fallen. The question now is, what should be our tactic going forward? Currently, these strange growths have not spread. However, this does not mean that they are unable to do so. They may simply need time. We could attempt to erect a large tented dome over the area to stop the spread before it can begin. This will be a large undertaking that will require time and a hefty amount of manpower. Or we could build up our forces to the point where we could attempt an assault to retake our side of the breach. This will be more dangerous, but if successful would give us the ability to reseal the tear. We at the Order are still trying to make a decision and would welcome any input on this matter. Secondly, thanks to the work of Freelance Hunter, the Slumbering Sanctuary, and the Admiral 1234 along with his group, we've gained a lead on the people responsible for the Umbra D event that took place within the new build home. While we do not know specifics, we do know of a location frequented by an assortment of less openly destructive entropic necromancers who use the location as a black market of sorts. This information came as quite a shock to us to learn that so many were active under our radar. While our first thought was an open raid on the location, calmer heads pointed out that there may be a benefit to allowing such a place to remain in operation. If properly monitored, we could gain the ability to track these necromancers and take down the ones who are a more serious danger to public safety, and as the location appears popular to these individuals, it would allow us to gain information on them for years to come. Due to this, we would like a small group to enter the Bone Exchange, as we've nicknamed it, posing as a necro cult, attempting to gain materials for their master. You will be looking for more examples of the strange capsule device, which we theorize to be used to hold the Umbra D. You are not to engage in any aggressive actions while at the location, as your cover must be upheld. Once you find examples of the device, we would like you to push the seller into revealing their source, under the guise of wanting to set up a more regular trade. Those interested can apply for the bounty at their local Order office, or they can contact me directly through the comment section of this video. So, the second Hunter's test. As before, I will present to you a collection of evidence in no particular order. Your goal will be to identify the entity in question, which has been covered in a previous instructional video, give the name of the sphere said entity comes from, and if possible attempt to piece the evidence together within the correct order. You can either give the name of the entity or the number of the instructional video that it was covered within. The number can be found both in the title of the video and in the description. You have 1 week from the posting of this video to answer. I wish you all luck, and those who guess correctly will be mentioned in an upcoming video. Today's Hunter's Test will be covering a series of events that took place between the early 1990s to the early 2000s. Evidence 1. I'm going to show to you a video recorded by a woman who was later found eviscerated. She had been walking home from a friend's birthday party that had been held at a country pub. She had thankfully taken it upon herself to record the event on a handheld video camera, meaning that she had the camera at the time she was attacked. As can be seen in the video, the woman starts recording after she sees something moving at the side of the lane she's walking along. Strange noises accompany the shape, and when the creature begins moving out from its covered position, the woman begins to run away, stopping filming. From what was found after the fact, she did not get very far from where the video was recorded. Both she and the camera had been torn to ribbons, the tape the recording was made upon thankfully surviving. Evidence 2. Photo of goodbye message. I'm going to both read and show the photograph of it for you to view. Redacted. I know this hasn't been easy on you, because it's been hell on me, and you always seem to feel worse for others' pain than you do for your own. I don't know what's happening to me, but I've given up on the idea that it can be stopped. I just remember the way you looked at me, and it hurts more than anything else. I know you said how you knew that I would never hurt you, and I won't, but that's why I've got to leave. When I look at you, I see the man I love, but I also see meat to be devoured. Every moment I'm around anyone, it gets harder. Rage, hunger, hatred, it just won't stop. You've seen me hurt myself so many times now, but I never told you that. I can't write it down. I'm sorry, it's like if I do, it becomes more real. I can hear you moving around upstairs. I'll be gone when you read this, but no, really and truly no. I love you. Yours forever. Redacted. Evidence 3. A CCTV recording captured at the entrance to a local supermarket chain. 2 men, seemingly a couple, can be seen leaving the shop. The first is pushing the trolley, while the second can be seen eating one of the recent purchases. A third individual can be seen entering the shot. This person does not appear to be paying attention and bumps heavily into the couple's trolley. The first of the couple, the one pushing the trolley, appears to laugh the incident off. However, the second, the one who was eating, becomes visibly agitated. He confronts the third individual aggressively, who appears to be apologizing profusely. This does not appear to mollify the second of the couple, however, with the first having to step between the two to stop the confrontation from escalating. The couple walks out of shot while the third man shakes his head, clearly relieved for the event having ended. Evidence 4. An on-site visual examination of a discovered body by a gamekeeper. The body resembles the first of the couple, the one who was pushing the trolley.
Sorry sight. The body is laying against a tree and has been severely damaged. Large chunks have been pulled from the arms and parts of the face. They seem to be bites, but too short to be an animal or an entity with a muzzle. Looking closer at the wounds, they're human, or at least close to human. The indentations created by the teeth show central incisors, both upper and lower, lateral incisors, and 3 of the 4 cuspids. I've just found the 4th cuspid. It was left within the soft tissue of the upper arm. But why would it simply fall out? There's no sign of tearing around the specific wound, just a clean bite down, and yet the tooth seems to have just plopped out. Odd. Looking at the torso, it only raises more questions. It looks as though it was ripped open from the front, which would take an immense amount of force. The sternum and ribs being pulled away from each other, exposing the chest cavity. The organs have been partially eaten, with what was left simply discarded around the immediate area. This would seem to rule out
entity removed for purposes of test,
as they would endeavor to devour the entire kill. It's a strange one, to say the least.
Evidence 5, a transcript of one side of a conversation with a hiker as they reported witnessing a naked man covered in blood wandering on the opposite side of a valley. Well, you know, the wife's been saying I've been packing on the pounds, so I thought I'd do something about it. I parked up the car and started following the trail. There was no other cars, so I thought I'd have the place to myself. But I was wrong. I'd been going for about an hour, following the route. It's a big circle going around the valley. You walk halfway up the one hill, walk along it through the forest, then you walk down the one you're on and walk up the other and follow it back to the car park. Running between both hills is a river. You can hear it all the way round. It's relaxing, but like I said, I was about half an hour in when I saw him. He was on the other side and thankfully he hadn't seen me. At first, I thought he was an animal, the way he moved on all fours, but no, it was a man, naked as the day he was born. I honestly couldn't help but laugh. I thought maybe it was doggers or something, but then he stopped moving. Somehow, he must have heard me, cause he suddenly squatted with his back up straight and started looking all around. I ducked down because I'd felt bad for staring, but that's when I saw him properly. His face and chest were covered in blood, and with how he'd been moving around, it wasn't his own. His face was wrong too. It was hard to make out because he was so far away, but it looked too long. Then, all of a sudden, he started moving towards the river on all fours. It was creepy. I'm just glad I noticed him before I'd walked the full loop, otherwise I would have bumped straight into him. I turned around, went straight home and told my wife we need to save up for a treadmill. Evidence 6, a journal entry dated the 13th of July, year redacted for purposes of test. Me and Redacted went out walking again. I love it here. There's so much nature. It's much more natural than Bristol. I'm so glad he won the argument. He wouldn't have been happy in a city. He's too much of a country boy. And to be honest, I'm happier here too. Who knew? Don't get me wrong, it's been an adjustment. 30-minute drive to the nearest supermarket's a pain. But it's like that ball of worry just melted away. Today we went to a forest he's been wanting to show me, and honestly, the mud I could do without, but God, it was breathtaking. It just felt ancient, like you could take a wrong turn and find a bunch of Welsh tribesmen painted blue. It's so real, which is good and bad. Like I said, it's exquisitely beautiful, but there's no one to clean up nature's mess. We found a dead animal while we were walking. Redacted thought it was a calf by the size, but it was hard to tell. It stank worse than anything and was covered in flies. It looked like it had been ripped open. It was such a mess, but what's funny is that before, that would have ruined my week. Never mind my day, but out here, I don't know. I just feel so peaceful. Evidence 7. This is a transcript of 2 paramedics talking after responding to a car crash. Medic 1. Bad place to spin out. Medic 2. No kidding, I hate the bloody lanes. 1 car wide, blind corners, hedges so high you can't see anything but what's in front of you, and the speed limit is 60. It's madness. Medic 1. At least he was okay, for the most part. Broken arm, bit of whiplash, and a mild concussion. Medic 2. What I want to know is why he was out so late and why the hell was he going so fast? One of the officers told me he must have been doing 40 to have mounted the banking the way he did, the bloody idiot. Medic 1. Well, I overheard him talking to his partner after they got called in as his emergency contact. Medic 2. Really? Medic 1. Yeah, he said to him that he'd gone out for a drive because he couldn't sleep and didn't want to wake him. He also said that for some reason he just kept going faster, but he didn't know why. Medic 2. That's nuts. Man needs to have his head examined. Evidence 8. One side of a transcript of a call to emergency services. And he just left this note. It's crazy, talking about being scared of hurting me. I'm really worried. You need to find him. I'm sorry, it's just the last few weeks have been really difficult. Everything was going so well. We were happy. Then he started having trouble sleeping. He became agitated and aggressive, snapping at small inconveniences. I thought maybe he was just missing home and it would pass, but it just got worse. He started picking fights with people over the smallest thing. It was like he almost wanted to get hit, and in the night he would go out driving when he couldn't sleep. I didn't think much of it until he crashed because he was going too fast. And even after that, he kept trying to go out at night. I had to hide his keys. Yesterday we got into this big fight. He got the cast off his arm a day or two back, but he kept it in a sling. I thought he was just being careful, but I saw it uncovered for a moment. It was awful. There was no skin left. It's like he pulled it all away. I don't know what he's gonna do, but either you need to find him or I will. I can't leave him on his own like this. So, there you go. All the evidence has now been presented. Can you piece together the series of events and identify the entity? I wish you all luck and look forward to reading your answers. With Arthur's might and Merlin's wisdom, thank you.